If you want to go to an NBA game, you have to download the Game Time app. You'll know exactly what the court looks like from each seat. It's a completely digital ticket, so no hassle of standing in the will call line. And if you use my code COACH, you'll get $10 off your first purchase. I've used it, it's awesome, and I'm in. In the surprise move of the season, the Cleveland Cavaliers fired head coach David Blatt on Friday. While there had been rumblings about his style, and we had seen evidence of LeBron's disrespect toward his coach, it seemed like their competitiveness in the finals and their performance so far this season meant they were on the right track.
You deserve this, sir. You deserve it, yes, sir. Let's keep going, yes, sir. Thanks for all you do.
No coach until now had ever been fired while his team had the best record in the conference, and their rankings on both offense and defense were among the elite. That said, the pressure to win a title has been weighing the franchise down since LeBron remade his decision to return to Cleveland. If the various reports are to be believed, and in hindsight, they certainly hold credence with me, the beginning of the end happened when Coach Blatt changed his rotations for the first Warriors game on Christmas Day. Up until that point, Richard Jefferson had averaged over 22 minutes a game, while Mo Williams was over 27. Because Coach Blatt wanted more defense, he went with Dellavedova and Shumpert instead, but didn't let Jefferson and Williams know beforehand. Of course, the Cavs were right there until a late run in the fourth won it for the Warriors in a tough defensive-minded battle. Again, if what has been reported is to be believed, then two veterans brought in for their leadership complaining about the rotation for one game is the ultimate in non-professionalism. In the next game versus the Portland Trail Blazers, it is now being reported that the Cavs, in response to Coach Blatt's changing the lineups, essentially boycotted the game. While this is insanely difficult to prove, I did find some interesting plays centering around LeBron James' effort in this game as it quickly got out of hand in favor of the Blazers. Mind you, it's easy to see a conspiracy if all you're doing is looking for one, but without question, LeBron spent a lot of the game disconnected from the action, rarely in his stance, content to walk around on the court with half-hearted attempts to go after the ball. And he spent a lot of time simply walking around, away from the action, not actively engaged in making plays. It is only notable because LeBron is a guy who routinely makes plays from all angles all over the court when he wants to. He's that good. He gets himself way too high on this edge, then jogs back into the action while the Blazers attack off the roll man and get a dunk. Again, is this a boycott or simply LeBron being unfocused enough to allow Al-Farouq Aminu to blow by him like a statue? Watch it again. There is no pick and roll coverage I know that would have LeBron jump to his left to force middle like this. And as this game started to fall apart, he tosses a behind the back pass out of a double team in the post to a player who's tightly guarded. Hardly the kind of valuing of a possession we expect from him. And after this wild shot, watch what he does in transition on defense. Walks away as the man he's supposed to pick up just lines up a wide open three. And if you listen to assistant coach Jim Boylan, you can hear that the coaching staff seems well aware of this effort issue in the first half.
Quarter and see if we can make a run in the fourth, but without effort, I mean, that's tough to do. So that's first order is to play with some intensity and some purpose.
And it's safe to say the Cavs understand that they're not a team that can compete with either the Spurs or the Warriors. While they led the Spurs for much of their matchup back on the 14th, it became apparent there were too many holes defensively for the Cavaliers to sustain a lead in one game, much less a 7-game series. With Tony Parker at full strength, involving Kyrie and Kevin Love in pick and rolls is just death for the Cavs defense. And Kyrie's constant reaching in is completely ineffective, allowing Parker to get to the rim at will. But LeBron wasn't helping defensively either, acting as another screener on Kyrie in his false effort to stay with Kawhi. LeBron again gets caught flat-footed, allowing a catch-and-drive blow-by to Kawhi, which compromises the whole defense. Of course, Coach Blatt's decision to play Love at center against Duncan was ill-conceived, especially since doubling him was not part of the game plan either. Hard to fathom they wouldn't try to get Love some help down there against the old man. The Spurs knew that screening with Love's man, especially if it's Duncan, would generate scores at the rim and open shots from the perimeter as well, making Love a big culprit in this game. LeBron simply does not match up well with Kawhi Leonard, who continued to burn him off the dribble and score at the rim, as well as get right to the rim on this tip dunk to seal the game when LeBron didn't box out. Offensively, LeBron seems to fall back too easily to isolations against perceived advantages in matchups, but against the Spurs defense, he's just playing into their hands when the ball stops like this. His normal shots become that much harder when the Spurs' rotations are so pristine and effective. And the Spurs have the ultimate LeBron James stopper in Kawhi Leonard. There is no one that can hound LeBron into misses like this and so completely take him out of his comfort zone to the point where Kawhi has probably eclipsed LeBron as a player. Now let's move to the Warriors game, if that's what you'd call it. Complete annihilation from the start is more like it, and apparently this was the game that sealed Coach Blatt's fate. But if the argument is that the Cavaliers needed a change because they wouldn't be able to beat the Warriors, we should look at the specific reasons why they couldn't beat them. Did it have anything to do with Coach Blatt, his coaching style, and his offensive and defensive philosophies? Or were there other fundamental issues beyond his control? What other situation would you ever find yourself in where you get hired for the job, then you're told the guy you beat out will not only be your assistant, but will be the highest paid assistant in the history of your profession? Against supreme ball movement, you need supreme effort on defense the entire possession. Does this look like the kind of effort that will get it done against a team like the Warriors? Everyone gets hit by flare screens, but again, I'm watching for effort and awareness, which is lacking here. On this short roll, LeBron disengages from his bump down to allow an alley-oop. On the same type of play, LeBron decides to hover in no man's land doing nothing, neither stopping the ball nor sticking to his man one pass away. On the out-of-bounds play, LeBron is the low man on defense and should have rotated to help, but doesn't realize what's happening till it's too late. Kyrie joins in with poor effort to sprint back, then does that reach-in thing again, allowing a way too easy look for Livingston from 10 feet. LeBron completely falls asleep on his man and has the audacity to call for a switch. This allows a simple backdoor cut for the layup. For some reason, and I suspect it's not related to anything Coach Blatt wants to do offensively, the Cavs tried ISO bully ball with LeBron in the post, but the stagnant offense allows the defense to overload and pester him into bad plays. Of course, we had this doozy from Kevin Love as he's running around out there out of position while the Warriors are dunking. And Golden State will continue to pick on Kevin Love in the pick and roll until the Cavaliers either bench him or figure out some secret way to stop these types of shots. Kyrie Irving has yet to master proper off-ball positioning with enough intensity to stop a player like Steph Curry and his impeccable cutting. LeBron gets back into the act with a gamble that pulls him way out of position. Had he closed out, he could have delayed this pass a split second longer for James Jones to more effectively contest the shot. And offensively, LeBron can't let any opportunities go by the wayside. Instead of walking down court, he could be attacking the offensive glass to make a play. It's not to say we didn't see the LeBron ISO post-up work, as it does here when Mozgov makes a nice baseline cut to get open. But it's not a viable strategy in the long term when the defense can load up as well as they do. We saw it in the finals, and we saw it here. When LeBron starts doing this thing, it plays right into the Warriors' hands, and the last thing you want to do is give them anything easy in transition. So there you have it, sports fans. I get it. If something's not working, it's not working. It's time to make a change. But if you want to accept the premise that they had to make a change because they couldn't beat the Spurs and Warriors, then consider what we just showed you. Is that type of effort reflective of Coach Blatt's inability to get through to his players? Or was it the players steadfastly refusing to be professional and accept the kind of coaching they truly need to improve as a team? Did Coach Blatt make mistakes? Sure, he tried calling a timeout they didn't have that almost cost him the playoff game, and then was thrown under the bus for trying to call a game-winning out-of-bounds play that had LeBron inbounding the ball, even though James was an atrocious 9 for 29 and 0 for 6 from 3 at that point. And it's been reported that he wouldn't point out mistakes by the Big Three in their film sessions for fear of angering his stars. But we also know that the offense he brought with him, a beautiful choreography of movement and spacing on par with the Spurs and Warriors actions, was rejected out of hand without allowing it time for the players to become comfortable with it. Say what you want about Coach Blatt's rotations and communicative skills, one thing you could always say about his teams in the past was that they were professional in their approach to the game and played as hard as they possibly could.
Let's be the team that's the hardest to play against, that's the hardest to beat, okay? That doesn't ever let up, that doesn't ever give up the fight.
This was not the case with the Cleveland Cavaliers team from the get-go, and I fear the Cavaliers from top to bottom never gave him that chance.